Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today we're going to discuss the Schengen Zone. All right, click subscribe before we get in. All right, so here we go. So what is the Schengen Zone and how does it matter to you in terms of residency and citizenship programs? All right, so there is the EU, right, which is 28 EU member states, right? And then there is within the EU something called the Schengen Zone. Now, the Schengen Zone includes most of those, but not all of those. And so if we just think about the concept behind the EU, which is the free movement of, or a concept, free movement of people, goods, and money, right? And you start to say, okay, but there's some restrictions within there, all right? And so the places that are not, out of those 28 EU member states, the parts that are not part of the Schengen Zone are Cyprus, Croatia, Bulgaria, and Romania, okay? All the other EU member states are members of the Schengen Zone, right? Maybe not Ireland as well. So anyway, so now, what this means is if you just think about it from the perspective of travel, say I'm Canadian, so as a Canadian, I have 3 out of every 6 months that I can spend within the Schengen Zone, okay? You get what's called a Schengen visa. And then but Bulgaria is not part of that, right? So now I have residency in Bulgaria, so it's not an issue. But let's just say that I was actually a visitor. Then I would come into Bulgaria, and I would have 3 months that are totally separate. These are categorized as separate periods. So really what it is it's a border-free zone within the EU. So as I said, it's not the whole EU. It's just a part of the EU, and it's an area where there is, loosely speaking, basically no borders. Now this concept is a little bit distorted with Corona because things have kind of got closed off, but in theory you basically just have free movement. So for instance, if I fly into Spain, I'll get checked at the border, go through customs, and then I fly from Spain to France, I won't get checked again because it's not as though I'm entering, like I'm still within the Schengen Zone, okay? So that's really what it's all about. It's just about free movement. And, you know, there's a pro and a con to it. The pro is, hey, listen, great, it's really easy to move between Schengen countries, fantastic. And the con is, well, if I'm somebody who's not a resident of the Schengen Zone, then I'm going to be in a situation where maybe I want to stay more than 3 months, and that's a problem for me. So if it was multiple countries, I could split it up. And so, you know, for instance, you could say, okay, great, I'm going to go from part of the Schengen Zone to Bulgaria, Romania, Croatia, Cyprus, check those places out, and then I'm going to go back. And, you know, collectively between that, I could extend more than 3 out of the 6, but only 3 out of 6 months could be spent inside the actual Schengen countries. Now, why does this matter to you? This matters because, you know, we often help people with residency and citizenship options, right? Generally speaking, Schengen countries from a citizenship standpoint are very well regarded, right? So you'll see kind of this is a pro of the Maltese citizenship over the Cyprus citizenship. It's slightly better, right? A few of the unofficial ones that come up, this can be relevant. But the thing that becomes more relevant is with respect to residencies. So I have some people, for instance, I had a client the other day, he has a guy who works for him who lives in Lebanon, and he's looking to relocate into Europe. And you're saying, okay, well, like, what's the easiest place that we could relocate to within Europe? And we start looking at this, and he says, you know, how is Bulgaria? And I was like, well, you know, it's not that difficult to move to Bulgaria, but the problem for him, being Lebanese, is he probably wants access to Europe. I get a lot of people from different parts of Africa, the Middle East, etc., who are interested in they're saying, hey, look, my passport's not very good, I'd love to be able to travel and travel around Europe. Well, if you have residency in one Schengen country, then you can freely move through all the others. So this makes it more attractive to get residency in countries like Slovakia, Czech Republic, Lithuania, Latvia, etc., Portugal, Spain, run down the list, than countries like Bulgaria, Romania, Cyprus, Croatia. Simply because of the fact that, yeah, okay, you can have an EU residency, such as Bulgaria, but that's not a Schengen residency, so it doesn't give you that same ability to travel around. So one of the things that happens quite often is somebody will say, have residency in Portugal under the golden visa, but they actually don't spend that much time there, but they can freely now move around because nobody knows, right? It's like, hey, you're in Schengen at least. So when you're considering which residency to get, both in terms of how the residency will maybe one day translate into a citizenship, but also just in general, the residency, it may be worthwhile for you to consider what options you have that are within the Schengen zone. There's, again, you know, like I think you do have to be very conscious of, okay, where do you actually like? Because, you know, you don't want to live in a place that you hate. But within those, it's generally, at least from a travel standpoint, better. And especially I think this is relevant to people who, again, they're looking for the travel, right? They're not looking for, say, the tax side of it. That brings on a whole other part of the conversation. And so, you know, you can make decisions accordingly. If you're interested in that, you know, reach out to us. We can talk to you about it and go from there. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Please click the subscribe button. Smash the little button that gives you the bell to notify. If you like the video, click like. If you have something you'd like to hear from us, write it in the comments below. If you'd like to book a consultation, there's a link below. Clarity.fm/Michael Rosmer. You can visit offshorecapitalist.net, offshorecitizen.com. We can help you with, you know, taxes, international tax, residency, citizenship, payment processing, etc., etc., etc. So anyway, hope that's good, and we'll see you guys on the next video.